Have you ever found yourself questioning your own sanity, wondering if you're just being paranoid or if someone is actually manipulating you? It's a disturbing thought, and one that can leave you feeling isolated and alone. The truth is, gaslighting is a real and insidious form of psychological manipulation that can be incredibly difficult to recognize, especially when it's happening to you. In fact, a study by Dr. Stephanie Moulton-Sarkis, a psychologist at Florida Atlantic University, found that gaslighting can be so effective that it can actually alter a person's perception of reality, making them doubt their own memories and experiences. This can have serious consequences, including anxiety, depression, and even post-traumatic stress disorder. According to a study published in the Journal of Personality Disorders, up to 75% of individuals who experience gaslighting will go on to develop some form of mental health issue, from mild anxiety to full-blown psychosis. That's a staggering statistic, and one that highlights just how serious this issue is. But what exactly is gaslighting, and how can you recognize when someone is trying to manipulate your reality? The term gaslighting actually comes from a 1938 play called Gaslight, in which a husband tries to drive his wife insane by manipulating her perception of reality. He does this by making her question her own memories and experiences, and by denying or distorting reality. Today, the term is used to describe a specific type of psychological manipulation, one that is designed to make a person doubt their own sanity or perception of reality. Researchers like Dr. George Simon, a psychologist at the University of Tennessee, have spent years studying this phenomenon and have identified some key signs that someone is being gaslighted. For example, Dr. Simon's research has shown that gaslighters often use a technique called projection, where they accuse their victim of doing something that they themselves are guilty of. This can be incredibly effective, as it not only makes the victim doubt their own behavior, but also makes them more likely to accept blame for things that aren't their fault. One of the most insidious things about gaslighting is that it can be incredibly subtle, making it difficult to recognize when it's happening to you. Gaslighters often use a combination of tactics, including denial, minimization, and blame shifting, to make their victim doubt their own perception of reality. They may also use emotional manipulation, making their victim feel guilty or ashamed for questioning their behavior. According to a study by Dr. Christine Courtois, a psychologist at the National Center for PTSD, gaslighting can be particularly effective in situations where there is a power imbalance, such as in a romantic relationship or at work. This is because the gaslighter is often in a position of authority or control, making it easier for them to manipulate their victim. The study found that victims of gaslighting often report feeling confused, anxious, and unsure of themselves, and may even begin to doubt their own memories or experiences. Dr. Sarkis's research has also shown that gaslighting can have serious consequences for a person's mental and emotional well-being. When someone is being gaslighted, they may begin to doubt their own perception of reality and may even start to question their own sanity. This can lead to feelings of anxiety, depression, and isolation, as well as a loss of self-esteem and confidence. In some cases, gaslighting can even lead to more severe mental health issues, such as psychosis or post-traumatic stress disorder. The good news is that there are things you can do to protect yourself from gaslighting and to recognize when someone is trying to manipulate your reality. By being aware of the signs and tactics used by gaslighters, you can take steps to protect yourself and maintain your own sense of reality. For example, if someone is consistently denying or distorting reality, or if they are making you feel guilty or ashamed for questioning their behavior, these may be signs that you're being gaslighted. It's also important to remember that gaslighting is never your fault. Gaslighters are highly manipulative individuals who use a range of tactics to control and manipulate others. They often target people who are vulnerable or insecure and may use a combination of charm, charisma, and emotional manipulation to get what they want. According to Dr. Simon, gaslighters often have a narcissistic personality disorder, which means they have a grandiose sense of self-importance and a lack of empathy for others. This can make them incredibly skilled at manipulating others and can also make them highly resistant to change or feedback. By being aware of these characteristics, you can better protect yourself from gaslighters and maintain your own sense of reality. But how can you tell if someone is gaslighting you? And what are the signs that you need to watch out for? Dr. Courtois' research has identified several key signs, including a feeling of confusion or disorientation, a sense of self-doubt or uncertainty, and a tendency to question your own memories or experiences. The feeling of being gaslighted can be incredibly disorienting, making it difficult to know what's real and what's not. It's like being in a dream, where nothing seems quite right, and you're not sure what's happening or why. This can be especially true in situations where there is a power imbalance, such as in a romantic relationship or at work. In these situations, the gaslighter may use their power or authority to manipulate their victim, making it even more difficult to recognize what's happening. According to a study published in the Journal of Interpersonal Violence, gaslighting can be particularly prevalent in situations where there is a history of trauma or abuse. In these cases, the gaslighter may use their victim's past experiences against them, making them more vulnerable to manipulation and control. The study found that victims of gaslighting often report feeling trapped or helpless, and may even begin to doubt their own ability to make decisions or take care of themselves. As we've seen, gaslighting is a complex and insidious form of psychological manipulation, one that can have serious consequences for a person's mental and emotional well-being. By being aware of the signs and tactics used by gaslighters, you can take steps to protect yourself and maintain your own sense of reality. But what are the specific signs that you need to watch out for? And how can you tell if someone is trying to manipulate your reality? Dr. Sarkis's research has identified several key signs, including a tendency to deny or distort reality, a pattern of emotional manipulation, and a lack of empathy or concern for others. These signs can be subtle, but they can also be incredibly revealing, especially if you know what to look for. By being aware of these signs, you can take the first step in protecting yourself from gaslighting and maintaining your own sense of reality. And that's exactly what we'll be exploring in the second half of this video, as we dive deeper into the psychology of gaslighting and explore the 7 signs that you're being gaslighted, including the ways in which gaslighters use projection, denial, and emotional manipulation to control and manipulate their victims, and how you can recognize these tactics and take steps to protect yourself, starting with the first sign, which is a feeling of confusion or disorientation, and working our way through the different signs and tactics used by gaslighters. So stay tuned as we continue to explore the complex and insidious world of gaslighting and learn how to recognize when someone is manipulating your reality. As we dive deeper into the world of gaslighting, it's essential to recognize that this manipulative tactic can be incredibly subtle, making it challenging to identify. One study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people who are being gaslighted often experience a significant decrease in self-esteem and an increase in anxiety. Researchers Jennifer Freyd and Pamela Birrell discovered that this is because gaslighting can lead to a phenomenon called betrayal trauma, where the victim begins to doubt their own perceptions and memories. For instance, imagine being in a relationship where your partner constantly denies or minimizes their hurtful behavior, making you feel like you're overreacting or being too sensitive. Over time, you may start to question your own judgment and sanity. To make matters worse, gaslighting can be incredibly effective because it often preys on our deep-seated desire to be loved and accepted. A study conducted by psychologist Simon Baron-Cohen found that people with narcissistic personality disorder, who often engage in gaslighting behavior, are highly skilled at manipulating others' emotions and perceptions. They may use charm and charisma to lure their victims into a false sense of security, only to later exploit and manipulate them. For example, a friend might constantly compliment you and make you feel special, only to later use those same compliments as a way to guilt-trip you into doing something you're not comfortable with. So, how can you recognize when someone is manipulating your reality? One sign to look out for is when someone consistently denies or distorts reality, even when faced with overwhelming evidence to the contrary. This can be as simple as a partner denying that they said something hurtful, even when you have a recording of the conversation. Another sign is when someone makes you feel like you're crazy or overreacting, even when your feelings are perfectly valid. For instance, if you express concern about a friend's behavior, and they respond by saying you're being too sensitive or paranoid, that's a major red flag. To protect yourself from gaslighting, it's essential to develop a strong sense of self-awareness and self-trust. This means paying attention to your own thoughts, feelings, and intuition, and not letting others dictate your reality. One practical step you can take today is to start keeping a journal or log of events, especially if you're in a situation where you feel like your reality is being manipulated. Writing down what happened, how you felt, and what was said can help you keep track of the truth and prevent others from distorting your memories. Another step you can take is to surround yourself with people who support and validate your feelings. Having a strong support network can help you stay grounded in reality and provide a safe space to talk about your experiences. For example, if you're in a relationship where you feel like you're being gaslighted, consider talking to a trusted friend or family member about what's happening. They may be able to offer a fresh perspective or provide emotional support during a difficult time. Finally, it's crucial to set clear boundaries and communicate assertively with others. This means being direct and clear about what you will and won't tolerate, and being willing to stand up for yourself when necessary. For instance, if someone is consistently denying or distorting reality, you can say something like, "I understand that we have different perspectives, but I'm not willing to engage in a conversation that involves denying or distorting the truth." By setting clear boundaries and communicating assertively, you can help prevent gaslighting behavior and protect your own mental health. It's also important to remember that gaslighting can be a gradual process, and it may take time to realize what's happening. However, by being aware of the signs and taking steps to protect yourself, you can break free from the cycle of manipulation and regain control over your reality. For example, you might start to notice that you feel anxious or uncertain around a particular person, or that you're constantly second-guessing yourself. These feelings can be a sign that someone is gaslighting you, and it's essential to take action to protect yourself. In addition to the steps I mentioned earlier, it's also helpful to practice self-compassion and self-care. This means being kind and understanding with yourself and taking care of your physical and emotional needs. For instance, you might take a relaxing bath, go for a walk, or practice yoga to help manage stress and anxiety. By taking care of yourself and prioritizing your own well-being, you can build resilience and better withstand the manipulative tactics of others. It's also worth noting that gaslighting can be a learned behavior, and it's often passed down through generations. This means that if you grew up in an environment where gaslighting was present, you may be more susceptible to it as an adult. However, by becoming aware of this pattern and taking steps to break free, you can create a more positive and healthy dynamic in your relationships. In conclusion, recognizing the signs of gaslighting and taking steps to protect yourself is crucial for maintaining your mental health and well-being. By being aware of the tactics used by gaslighters and taking action to prevent them, you can regain control over your reality and live a more authentic, empowered life. Remember, it's okay to trust your instincts and stand up for yourself, even if it means going against the opinions of others. If this helped you see yourself differently, subscribe. I post new psychology insights every single day. And if you want to go even deeper, check the link in the description for the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. It changed how millions of people think and act.